Hi everyone, I'm Pat Ferenga, and I want to talk to you about Growing Without Schooling, also called GWS, the first magazine about homeschooling, unschooling, and learning outside of school. Growing Without Schooling was started in 1977 by the fifth grade teacher and later best-selling author, John Holt. John wrote many popular books about teaching and learning, such as How Children Fail and How Children Learn, and they've been in print since they were first published in the 1960s and then later revised by John in the 1980s in light of his work with homeschooling and unschooling. John writes that education is not the same as schooling, and that teaching should include all the ways in which people of all ages, in or out of school, can more effectively share information, ideas, and skills. John wanted to transform schooling to fit individual children rather than force the child to fit the school. He spent the first decades of his fame as a teacher and writer trying to change schools by working with and within them. After years of being rebuffed as a romantic school reformer, John wrote, "It's not that I feel that school is a good idea gone wrong, but a wrong idea from the word go. It's a nutty notion that we can have a place where nothing but learning happens, cut off from the rest of life." Teaching, John continues, is a very strong medicine, which like all strong medicines can quickly and easily turn into a poison. At the right time, that is when the student has asked for it, and in very small doses, it can indeed help learning. But at the wrong time or in too large doses, it will shut down learning or prevent it altogether. Although John's books were largely dismissed by education bureaucrats, his work developed a following among parents, students, and teachers who agreed with his ideas. John founded GWS magazine to put these people in touch with one another to grow the grassroots homeschooling movement. John opened the first issue of GWS with these words: "This is the first issue of a newsletter about ways in which people, young or old, can learn and do things, acquire skills, and find interesting and useful work without having to go through the process of schooling. In part, it will be about people who, during some of their own growing up, did not go to school, what they did instead, and how they made a place for themselves in the world. Mostly, it will be about people who want to take or keep their children out of school and about what they might do instead, what problems come up, and how they cope with these. In starting this newsletter," John wrote, "we are putting into practice a nickel-and-dime theory about social change, which is that important and lasting social change always comes slowly and only when people change their lives, not just their political beliefs or parties. We who do not believe in compulsory schooling, who believe that children want to learn about the world, are good at it, and can be trusted to do it without much adult coercion or interference, are surely not more than 1% of the population, and perhaps much less than that. This doesn't trouble me anymore, as long as those minorities of which I am a member go on growing. My work is to help them grow. If we can describe the effective majority of our society with respect to children or schools or any other question as moving in direction X, and ourselves, the small minority, is moving in direction Y, what I want to do is find ways to help people who want to move in direction Y to move in that direction, rather than run after the great X-bound army shouting at them, 'Hey, you guys, stop, turn around. You ought to be coming over here in direction Y.' In areas they feel are important, people don't change their ideas, much less their lives, because someone comes along with a bunch of arguments to show that they are mistaken or even wicked to think or do as they do. Once in a while, we may have to argue with the X-bound minority to try to stop them from doing a great and immediate wrong. But most of the time, as a way of making real and deep changes in society, this kind of shouting and arguing seems to me a waste of time." John wrote those words in 1977 when homeschooling was ridiculed as a surefire way to damage children. Now, in 2024, Homeschooling is the fastest growing educational alternative in America.